Imagine a land so vast it stretches across 11 time zones. A land of emperors and revolutions, of breathtaking culture and brutal war. Russia's story is not just history. It's a saga of power, survival, and transformation. And tonight we dive deep into the epic, untold story of Russia. From the birth of its first kingdoms to the rise of the Soviet Union and the modern nation we know today. If you think you know Russia, think again. Behind the Kremlin walls and Siberian snows lies a past filled with mystery, ambition, and blood. By the end of this video, you'll understand why Russia is one of the most fascinating and misunderstood nations in human history. Russia's story begins over 1,000 years ago, with the early Slavic tribes who lived along the great rivers of Eastern Europe. These people, simple farmers and warriors, soon found themselves under the rule of the Varangians, Viking traders who established the first Russian state, Kievan Rus, in the 9th century. This was the beginning of a nation that would rise to dominate world history. Kievan Rus adopted Christianity from Byzantium in 988, and with it came culture, literacy, and art. But history took a dark turn. By the 13th century, Mongol invaders swept across the steppes, burning cities and enslaving entire populations. For over 2 centuries, Russia lived under the shadow of the Mongol yoke, shaping its fierce resilience and centralized power. From this struggle emerged Moscow, a small principality that grew into the beating heart of Russian identity. Leaders like Ivan III, known as Ivan the Great, threw off Mongol control and laid the foundation for the Russian Empire. His grandson, Ivan the Terrible, became the first Tsar. He expanded Russia's borders but ruled with fear, cruelty, and a reign of terror that still echoes in Russian memory. Fast forward to the 18th century, and a towering figure takes the stage. Peter the Great. Obsessed with modernizing Russia, Peter built a new capital, St. Petersburg, and dragged Russia into Europe's cultural and political stage. His reforms transformed the nation, but his brutal rule showed how power in Russia always came at a high cost. Then came Catherine the Great, an empress of unmatched ambition. Under her reign, Russia became one of the most powerful empires in the world, stretching from Poland to Alaska. Yet beneath the grandeur, peasants lived in misery, bound to the land as serfs, setting the stage for future revolution. The 19th century saw Russia rise and stumble, from defeating Napoleon's army in 1812 to suffering humiliation in the Crimean War. Russia stood at the crossroads of change. Tsars tried to reform society, but revolutions brewed in the shadows. Writers like Dostoevsky and Tolstoy gave the world timeless literature, even as political unrest boiled closer to the surface. And then the spark, 1917, the Russian Revolution. The Tsar was overthrown, the Romanov dynasty executed, and the Bolsheviks, led by Vladimir Lenin, seized power. The world watched in shock as Russia became the world's first communist state. Out of the ashes of empire rose the Soviet Union, nation destined to clash with the West in the greatest standoff of the 20th century, the Cold War. From Stalin's iron rule to the triumph of World War II, from the space race to the collapse of the USSR in 1991, Russia's story is one of unimaginable sacrifice and staggering ambition. And today, Russia continues to shape global politics, culture, and conflict. So what do you think? Is Russia's history a story of survival or domination? A land of culture or cruelty? One thing's for sure, Russia's past is far from over. If you found this journey into history fascinating, smash that like button, subscribe for more deep dives, and share this video with anyone who loves powerful stories.